Can blockchain help rebuild African aviation? That is the biggest question. After looking at the Liberia Aviation Project that is being in process to be constructed. The story today is actually bigger than just crypto. It is completely much bigger. Because for the first time in a long run, I'm seeing blockchain related project trying to connect itself directly with the real world infrastructure. Not just online speculation. No. Not just online speculation. And honestly, this matters. Today we are talking about a new aviation redevelopment initiative in Liberia that is involving Unity token, that is involving quantum exchange, that is involving Liberia Aviation Group, and several strategic partners. The project aims to modernize airports. The project aims to expand airline operations, to improve logistics ecosystems, and potentially position Liberia as the future of aviation hub in West Africa. Now, before people immediately hear the word crypto and tokenization and assume this is another random hype story, I want us to slow down and actually understand what is being proposed here. I want us to understand what is being proposed here. Because this conversation, it touches aviation, one, it touches logistics, it touches infrastructure, it touches finance, it touches regional development, it touches tourism, it touches jobs, it also touches Africa's future connectivity to the world. And as somebody who has spent years watching both legitimate innovation and destructive scams in crypto, I think this topic deserves a serious human conversation. Hi, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the CryptoInvestar Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Leinhardt. And if you are new here, this podcast focuses on crypto, on tokenization, blockchain, infrastructure, digital finance, and the real world impact that these technologies may have on emerging economies and ordinary people. Not hype at all. Not fake overnight millionaire stories, no, but this is about real conversations. And today's discussion, it is actually very interesting because it combines something that Africa desperately needs, that is the infrastructure. And if you've traveled around parts of Africa before, you already know transportation infrastructure. It remains one of the continent's biggest challenges. Air travel between African countries is still very difficult. It is sometimes very expensive. It is sometimes very unreliable. It is sometimes disconnected completely. There are African countries where it is easier to fly to Europe first before connecting back to another African country. There's a time I was traveling to Belize. Yes, to Belize, and I had to fly from here to... No, we didn't pass through Nairobi, to Turkey. Then from Turkey to Panama. Then from Panama to Guatemala. Then from Guatemala to Belize. And it was hell nonsense. It was hell nonsense. Spending over 22 hours up in the space. It was hell hectic. Whenever somebody speaks about air transport, I simply think about those long travels up in the space. Think about that for a second. When you understand that problem, you start understanding why aviation matters far beyond airports alone. Because aviation affects trade, it affects tourism, it affects business movement, it affects cargo transportation, it affects medical logistics, it affects foreign investment, and overall economic growth. So when I saw this press release discussing a blockchain connected aviation initiative in Liberia, I became curious, not because of the token, no, not because of the token, but because of the infrastructure angle. I was like, what are they building? What do they want to do? And I was asking, what exactly is this project? So according to the press release, Unity token, also known as Tunity, it is expected to serve as the blockchain-powered tokenization layer to support a major aviation redevelopment initiative in Liberia. So this project, it includes partnerships involving quantum exchange. I've been talking about quantum exchange, the tokenization layer, also the crypto exchange, the blockchain world systems, the Liberty Investment and Guarantee Company, the Liberia Aviation Group, as far as Africa Air Aviation Services. A lot of companies have joined to build this. And according to the release, the initiative involves up to $850 million in development funding and credit enhancement. This is huge. Let me repeat that carefully. This is not just about launching another crypto token. The discussion here is about aviation infrastructure. It includes airport modernization, it includes airline expansion, cargo systems, aircraft maintenance facilities, aviation training, logistics systems, international flight connectivity, and specifically the redevelopment of James Springs Pine Airport in Liberia. It was mentioned directly here. That immediately changes the conversation from crypto speculation into something much more serious. Because once blockchain starts interacting with physical infrastructure, accountability suddenly matters more. Execution matters more. Results matter more. This is huge. This is huge. And some people who might be listening might ask, why Liberia specifically? And honestly, Liberia has a very unique position historically and geographically. West Africa is growing so fast. The population is growing, trade is growing, movement is growing. But infrastructure, it still needs massive development. And aviation is one of those sectors where modernization can completely reshape economic activity. If Liberia can successfully improve airport systems, it can improve airline operations, it can improve logistics and international connectivity, it could create ripple effects across tourism, across regional commerce, across investment attraction and cargo transportation. This is huge. This is important because modern economies, they run on movement. People moving, goods moving, money moving, technology moving. Without transportation infrastructure, economic growth completely slows down. People are asking about blockchain. How is blockchain entering aviation? This is new. It is something huge. Now, this is the part many people will debate. Why would you introduce blockchain into aviation infrastructure? And it is a very, very fair question. And honestly, the blockchain industry has damaged its own reputation over the years because many projects promised real utility but delivered nothing. It is understandable. We have seen too many buzzwords. We've seen too many empty white papers. We've seen too many fake partnerships, too many promises. So skepticism is healthy. It is very healthy. But tokenization itself is becoming a real conversation globally. Even major institutions They are now discussing tokenized assets. They are now discussing real estate. They are now discussing infrastructure. They are discussing commodities. They are discussing investment products. They are discussing payment systems. The idea is basically trying to create digital representations connected to real world assets or systems. And according to this press release, Unity Token is positioning itself as the blockchain layer, helping support this aviation ecosystem. Now, whether that succeeds long term, only time will tell. Because infrastructure projects are not easy, especially this aviation. This industry is highly regulated. The capital is intensive. Operationally, it is operationally difficult. And execution matters more than just announcements. But what interests me personally is actually seeing blockchain discussions finally move toward sectors that actually impact ordinary human life. It is seeing blockchain discussions moving towards ordinary people to change their lives. Because transportation, it affects everybody. It affects everyone regardless of where they are and their status. So the human side of this story is what I care about most. What does this actually mean for ordinary people? Because when you grow up in Africa, you understand infrastructure problems emotionally. You don't just need statistics, you experience them. You experience delayed development, you experience limited opportunities, you experience transportation barriers, disconnected economies. So when people talk about jobs, training, institutions, aviation education, cargo systems, international routes, logistics modernization, those things matter in daily lives. Those things matter in everyday life. The press release specifically mentions aviation training and certification infrastructure plus aviation or personal training institutions development. That matters because long-term development is not just about buildings, but it's about skills. People are going to be skilled. It's about people. It's about knowledge transfer. It's about opportunities for future generations. And if Africa countries want to compete globally, human capital development must happen alongside these infrastructures. Me as a person, how I understand this is that because as somebody who fell victims for scams in crypto industry for many years ago, I have become extremely cautious, very cautious. And I no longer get excited simply because somebody says blockchain, but I care about utility. I care about transparency, about real partnerships, about real execution of projects, about real human impact. That's why I think that these types of projects should be watched carefully, but also analyzed critically. Not blindly hyped, not blindly attacked either, just observed carefully. Because Africa, genuinely, it needs infrastructure innovation. And if blockchain technology can genuinely help improve financing systems, transparency mechanisms, logistics, coordination, or infrastructure development, then that conversation deserves attention. But again, results will always matter more than just press releases. So one thing that I think many global investors still underestimate, it is how massive Africa's infrastructure it is how massive Africa's infrastructure opportunity actually is, because the continent is still early in many sectors, in transportation, in logistics, digital payments, tokenization, energy infrastructure, financial access. There is enormous room for growth. And because Africa is still developing in many systems, they are actually an opportunity to leapfrog older systems entirely. We already saw this happen with mobile money in most parts of Africa. Some regions skipped traditional banking infrastructure completely and moved directly into mobile finance ecosystems. Do you think similar innovation could happen with blockchain connected infrastructure? Do you think similar innovation can happen with blockchain connected infrastructure in financing? Yeah, possibly. But again, execution is everything. So overall, this Liberia Aviation Initiative is definitely one of the most interesting blockchain-related infrastructure stories I've seen recently. Not because of hype, but because it attempts to connect blockchain technology to something physical, something visible, and economically important. Look at airports, airlines, logistics, regional connectivity, trade movement. If done correctly here, projects like this could potentially reshape how emerging economies think about infrastructure financing and digital asset ecosystems. But the important thing now is simple. Can the execution match ambition? The ambition with the execution match the ambition? That is the biggest question I'm seeing here. Honestly, the world will be watching this happen. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. My name is Daniel Leinhardt. If you enjoyed this discussion, make sure you subscribe, you follow, and you share this episode to a friend that would love this. Do you think blockchain and tokenization can genuinely help modernize African infrastructure? Or do you think that the industry still has a long way to go before people fully trust blockchain and tokenization? I would want to hear your perspective. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and keep building wisely.
Check.